Alrighty, I hear we are live. Welcome everybody. I hope at least there are people already. I have no clue. That's not going to stop me to welcome you all to our new product update webinar. We call it the Hot Summer Update webinar. My name is Roy. I'm the CEO of Rentman, and I have the opportunity to talk you to everything that we've launched over the last quarter. I think we're going to give it a few minutes, 3 to 5 minutes till everybody has joined. So I want to start with a small question to hear where you guys are tuning in from, and the way we're doing it now is what is the hottest summer project that you are going to plan this year? So again, if you just joined in, welcome. Please let us know. We're going to wait 3 or 4 minutes till everybody is here. And what is the biggest project, your hottest project, your coolest project? Although this is the Hot Summer Project webinar, so let's go for the hottest project. What is the project that you're most proud of this summer? I don't see anything coming in. I hear that some of our Dutch customers are currently working on the bigger festivals. I heard a customer coming back from Best Kept Live, but I don't see anything coming in yet. Chloe, are we sure this is all okay? So we also have some customers in the US. We visited them last week. They were at Infocom, and we heard tons of cool stories. We heard customers that are working on Netflix documentaries. We see some customers that are planning now more in the catering industry. And the majority of our customers are doing AV on festivals in the summer. I see one thing coming in, G7. That's the big conference with all the world leaders. That must be cool. I can imagine the amount of compliance you need to go through to make that happen. Any more hot summer projects? I have just one vote. I think I will see that as an answer that we can get started. You might be busy already, so let's dive in it. My role is to tell you a bit about the general improvements, and we added some cool new workflows this webinar over the last 3 months. So we have new financial workflows. We added new workflows for the crew. We want to shine some lights on what's coming soon, and then we have a Q&A to help you answer your questions. If you have any question, put them in the chat or the Q&A function of Zoom. We have 3 colleagues already helping us out to immediately answer your questions, and we will pick the most asked questions or the most upvoted questions. I will go over them live, and we try to demo as much as possible so we get a bit of an interactive experience. All right, so my part, the general improvement. What are the smaller, more general things that change the Rentman? And I want to kick it off with the dark mode. So in the app, the mobile app, we now have a dark mode. The dark mode, how does it work? We basically have 3 different themes you can select. You have the light, that was previously the normal version. We have the dark mode version, so you can always put in dark mode, and you can ask the app to follow your system preferences. So when your iOS or your Android is configured to turn to dark mode in the evening, then the app will switch as well, so that at night you get the dark mode and during the day you get the light mode. I think that is the settings that you want to choose. It's cool. I think every webinar I was here, people requested it. People asked us, hey, when is the dark mode coming? Also, because of the upvotes we got here, we prioritize a bit. So happy to announce that now we have the dark mode live in the mobile app. All right, what else do we have? So I'm talking about general improvements here. A lot of these general improvements are about our views and how Rentman looks and feels. And when I talk about views in this time, I literally meant views. So as you probably know, I'm going to show it here. A very powerful feature that we had in Rentman is that in every grid, we call this a grid, you had the opportunity to change your view. So here right now, I'm looking at the schedule view for my equipment. But when I switch to a more financial role, I can say, okay, I want to see the quoting. And now all my columns change from the more planning columns to the quoting or financial columns. We used to have this across the software, but what we changed is that you now can actually create new views that also include filters. So you can include date selectors or filters. And in this way, if you change your view, you don't only change your column set, but also your filters. And what's a good example here is that I created a view that only show my project, right? So I'm an account manager. I'm looking at my projects for next week for all stock location. That's something that wasn't possible before, and we can do it now, and hopefully it will help you make faster changes or prioritize your work better because of different views. What else? Well, we had 91 smaller changes, things that you request. Maybe you got 1 or 2 upvotes, and once every quarter we combine those, and then we take 1 or 2 weeks to also make progress on the smaller UX improvements. What do we do this time? Well, for instance, if you have a button, it remembers your last click. So if you always add the temporary equipment, it doesn't take you 2 clicks anymore, but it remembers that you probably next time also want to add temporary equipment. So remember your previous selection. We changed the interface of our task notes and files, made them more clear. We added more images, for instance, hovers in the equipment solving shortages, so that you can actually see an image of the item it contains. And we had a lot of places where we made our warnings and notifications clearer. So it's clear that you did something. If you did something wrong, it showed what you did wrong. And we improved our search. So our search used to have a preference in how you can search on something, and we made it smarter, more intelligent, that it probably knows better what you want to search. So these are the small improvements, but like I said in the demo, this time we're actually introducing new workflows, and I want to ask Lode to tell us about the new workflows that we're introducing in our financial products.
Cool, thank you, Roy. Hi guys, my name is Lode. For the ones who didn't join the webinar last time, I'm one of the product designers here at Rentman. I'm super excited to talk about the new financial features here actually that we've worked on last quarter. Before we dive in, let's ask this question. How many lines of additional costs were created in Rentman in the last month? What's the rough indication? Let's see. There are 3 answers. It's A, is it 12,000? Is it B, 47,000? Or is it C, 5,000? And let's wait for the answers coming in. See, it's pretty equal. But yeah, it's answer B. 47,000 additional costs were created. I saw someone filling in B after I said the answer, so very cheeky. But 47,000 additional costs were created only last month. So that shows how much this feature is being used currently. Let's go to the next slide. I'm actually super thrilled to talk about the most requested feature I think here at Rentman over the past few years, and that's purchase orders, of course. Last few years there came a bunch of feedback came in and about all different kinds of things related to purchase orders, and that resulted in us knowing that you guys really see this as a must-have workflow within Rentman. So we decided to try our very best and create this purchase orders module. So basically, let's say you're in the middle of planning a project, right? You have to subrent your equipment items because there are shortages, or you have to create other project-related expenses. Previously, your account manager, who not always has financial access, he has to go to the finance department or to the finance guy and ask like, hey, can you create this purchase order for me? And this finance guy then creates this purchase order in a separate system, constantly having to cross-reference this price within Rentman and the price in the accounting software, which leaves space for a lot of errors, of course. let alone when the price updates, for example, within Rentman. So the costs change, then the costs on the purchase order should also change, which is a big hassle. On top of that, some of your suppliers maybe don't even act before they actually have this purchase order in their inbox. So that really shows how important this entire purchase order flow is currently. And with all these problems with using different systems and stuff, that really shows that it's very error prone and it requires a lot of manual work with this cross-referencing. So I think we bundled all this feedback, and I think we really came with a solution that is a huge step into the right direction, that really solves your purchase order problems right within Rentman. So it really is seamlessly integrated in your current workflow, all within Rentman, that uses the prices that are already in your system, and getting more grip over your costs. So let me go to Rentman here on my other computer and show how this exactly works with purchase orders. So in this case, let me go to my projects and open a project. And here there are some shortages on my project. I can then select to subrent the shortages, create a new subrent, and assign a supplier to it, of course, and save it. Then from my subrent, I can raise a purchase order. So in Rentman, you can basically raise purchase orders from the origin of the costs. So that means in this scenario, the subrent, but in case you have additional costs, you can directly go to the additional costs and then add a purchase order from there. So let us add a purchase order and create a new one. In this case, we have the purchase order screen where we see that the costs are being added to the purchase order as well. We can request approval, of course, and this is where you get way more grip on your costs and on your expenses, because here I can request approval for my purchase order, where I had to walk to this finance guy in my department and ask like, hey, can you create a purchase order for me? I can now create it self and then send it to the guy in the company. So let's say I send my request for approval to Sarah. Hey, can you approve this PO for me? And request the purchase order. In this case, I'm also a person who can approve and decline a purchase order, so I will also have the rights myself. And upon approving or declining, I can also give a reason of declination or approval. And the entire history is shown in the purchase order history with all the events there. Another key feature that is super important is when costs increase after the purchase order has been approved. So in this case, maybe the subrental isn't on 5,700, but it's 5,800. So the costs have increased. In this case, I won't be able to create a document. I still have to approve it first. Let me change the costs now, because now it was approved costs. And now you see I'm not allowed to create a document because it exceeds the approved costs, giving you just these extra eyes to make sure that you have more control over your costs right within Rentman. When the costs are actually approved and everything is checked, you can then send the purchase order to your supplier by either downloading it or emailing it directly from within Rentman to your supplier. So yeah, I also really want to highlight this. If you have any feedback about the purchase order flow, you can use either this button here or go to the purchase order module and give feedback. And then we are aware of what you would like to see with the new purchase order feature. So basically, with this purchase order feature, we really give you like an integrated way into Rentman and have way more control of your costs and have this way more professionalized communication with your suppliers, as well as knowing better the expenses that you are that you have on your projects. So, one question for the crowd again. We're super curious in what you think is our most important update that we should do for purchase order feature. So basically, we have four different options. Is that the entire buying equipment flow? Is that B, is that the crew planning? So more like crew, purchase orders and stuff like that. Is it C, just other costs that are not related to any of the projects? Or is that D, an accounting software integration? There are four different features that are, that it is for us possible to start developing. And we like to get a rough indication of what's for you most important. I see the answers here are also very much equally divided. Crew planning, so the crew documents and crew purchase orders, I should say, actually, are slightly winning. But also the accounting software integration and project-related costs are still a lot of people request for that. Cool. That's some very useful information for us. Nice. Let's go to the next slide. So basically, our financial development team here and the financial value stream here at Rentman, they really focus on giving the power to the project managers and to maintain this seamless workflow and always having this grip on your project costs from quotation to the end of your project. And this purchase order functionality is already very much contributing to that. But we knew that as soon as we launch purchase order that we also see an uptake in the usage of additional costs. Therefore, you saw 47,000 additional costs lines created every month. That's a whole lot. Previously, with additional costs, it was very cumbersome to do a couple of things. The first of all, there wasn't really any additional costs, any default additional costs that you could add. So basically, if you knew that you always charged a certain additional cost, you had to backtrack in your projects and find the price that you're always charging for that one. Besides that, it was difficult to group and organize your additional costs, and it could quickly become a mess. And you had to do all kinds of manual calculations when the quantity was higher than one. So if you want to charge 5 hotel stays, for example, you had to manually calculate 5 times the unit price and then put it in your additional costs. And also the dragging and dropping, or maybe changing the order of the additional costs in your invoice was very, very much of a hassle because you had to remove the line and then add it again. So all kinds of things that could be improved. So I really think that I will show you in a bit with the additional costs improvements that we have a way more better and faster and more organized way for you to manage your additional costs within Rentman. And that really fits into the purchase order workflow that I just talked about. So let me show you how this is gonna look within Rentman. It's not live just yet. It will be live very soon, within a couple of weeks. But I just want to highlight this already for you guys. So basically, how does this work? You see that I added different default costs. Additional cost groups, like you're also used to with adding equipment groups and function groups for organization. They also add the subtotal here on the right side. And on the left side, you have a menu like you're also used to with your equipment and crew and transport that shows you all your default additional costs with their default sales price. So now I can select a travel and I can add a hotel stay to my travel, change the quantity, and all the total prices are adjusted accordingly. And what's new as well, you can now apply a discount to your additional costs. So let's say I want to apply a 30% discount to my hotel stay. That's all calculated perfectly fine. And then the annoying ordering part and sorting part on your invoices, that's also solved because we can now drag and drop the additional costs and even copy and paste them between different projects as well. Because we added this quantity and unit price and total price and grouping, Once this feature is live, I would highly recommend to have a quick look at your document templates to make sure that you show the unit price, the quantity, and the total price, so that there is no confusion with your customers about what the final price is going to be. And like I said previously, this is not live just yet, but it will be live within the next couple of weeks. So that's it for the financial part. I'd like to invite Sarah over for the next part.
Yes. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm one of the product managers at Rentman, currently looking at the crew part of our product. So that's also what I'm going to tell you something about. But first, let's dive into Slido again. Don't forget to join. The question of today is, which custom leave types are used in your company? So for example, in Rentman, when you have your Rentman anniversary, you work here for 5 years, you get some extra vacation days. Do you have such types in your company that you make use of? Let's wait till the results come in. It's a topic that we've been working on for the past quarter. We heard a lot of people who mentioned that they would love to have custom leave types. I see more people with a 5-year sabbatical, long service leave, off, fix, flex, rest. Cool to see that every company has their own way of working and own way of giving employees some days off or other mental health days. Sounds great. A festival team trip. That really sounds fun. Efteling. You're Dutch for sure. Cool. A lot of specific leave types that I see coming up here. Really nice to see. Okay, then we'll go further into all the cool new crew stuff that we've created, because as mentioned in the previous webinars this year, we're really looking into seamless crew communication with every interaction. And for that, we look at the communication part, but also about knowing all information of your crew members in terms of availability. And to solve that issue, we created leave management. So this is available for all Crew Pro licenses. We made sure that it will be easy in Rentman to manage and approve all leave of your crew members. So what we did is that you can now allow crew members to request leave. As a power user, you have the option to approve, decline, or cancel something. You can add a note. You can give your crew members a leave balance for the year. And this also directly syncs to the visual crew planner. So if they have leave, you know for sure that you won't be able to plan them. We are going to dive into our demo to show you. So in order to start this, you go into the configuration setting, time registration and leave, and make sure that you click for the correct leave type that you want, that there's a approval required. You can indicate if it has an hour balance and if it blocks availability. If it blocks availability, that means that once the leave is approved, it will also show in the visual crew planner. So it's visible for the crew planner when he's trying to fill up the schedule. Once you've done that, underneath time registration, you have the top leave requests. As you see in this specific workspace, I already have some crew members who requested the leave. So when you are the approver, in this case, you can check by clicking on the details, looking at the details bar, and you get an overview of the leave balance of the specific crew member. You get an overview of the days and the leave balance that it will take, and you can add some notes if necessary. If you are a crew member, you of course want to be able to request a leave. So you can do this in this module. You can also do it in My Schedule, for example. You get this pop-up. And for example, I know it's going to be great weather this week, so I would like to have my Monday off as well. So I select my Monday. If you work part-time, for example, you can adjust the hour balance here. And from here, I would say like long weekend. I request it, and it shows up here for my team lead to approve. When you start out using this feature, you probably want also to dive into leave balances for the crew members. So you can do this by either implementing everything in the crew member list. You can also adjust it for every crew member on their crew member page. We even created an extra column in the crew member module to see the leave balances. To get a good overview of that one. Okay, let's continue back to the presentation. So a second cool feature that we created within the group product is crew documents. So what we did is create an extra tab on the crew member page called Documents, in which you can upload or create documents and indicate what type of document it is and what the start and end date is if it comes to, for example, contracts or some kind of a license that you want to keep track of if someone still has it. What we also did is adding extra columns in the crew member list to make sure that you can check if someone has an active contract or has some type of document, and you can create a filter on this. So you always have an overview of who is capable of being planned on a specific job. For the Dutch market, we know that these contracts have become way more important since January because of the false self-employment law. In order to provide you with some help with that, we now are looking into a Rentman native workflow to get the correct documentation for those freelancers. So I'm going to show you a little bit about that. This is not in your workspace right now, but it will be there very soon. So what we do is we created an extra document template. It's important for you to first go over this document template and adjust some things to make sure that it also fits your workspace or your company. It will include some information about what type of industry you operate in, or maybe which specific costs are included in their work or what they will be compensated for. So you do need to adjust this document template. I already did it, so I go into my crew members module. And let's go into the module of Jarne. So I already have some documents for Jarne, but from here I can create a new one. I will use my adjusted ruimovereenkomst, and I will make sure that it's for now till the end of the year. In the text field, I will add some information about why I want to have this ruimovereenkomst with Jarne, this framework agreement. So in this case, I know that he's an expert on light design. So I will say something like expertise in lighting techniques. And I'll generate a contract. So we have some variables that will automatically be added in here about Jarne. I adjusted the template to fit my company, and in the end, it will also include the reason why I have this contract with Jarne. It will send it to him. He's able to sign it in here, and that will also show in that documents tab. Once this is fixed, you do have to have an assignment confirmation when you schedule Jarne on something. So you can do that, for example, from the crew planner. When you select the crew member that you do this for, let me find him back. And you create a crew document. So for this specific part, we created an opdrachtbevestiging, so an assignment confirmation template. This one you also need to adjust a little bit because it contains some information about your specific company, which we cannot fill in for you. Once you adjusted it, you can use it as the assignment confirmation. In the text, you need to add something about what type of assignment you want to use it for. So in this case, for example, I want him to do the lightning design of my City of Jazz project. So I will add that. And then I generate it. So as you see, the contract or assignment confirmation adds what company he is going to work for, the information of your freelancer himself. It will say the assignment description that you added, and then list the planning and the costs that he will get for it. Because we can not really create an e-signing confirmation in here because it's not be able to trace back. We now added that there's a request for the freelancer to respond to it via email, so you have a black and white answer that he confirmed the assignment. It's important to stress to your freelancers to do that because you do need that black and white answer. For now, this is the workflow that we recommend to use in the Netherlands. These contracts or templates are all in Dutch, so that's where it's being released upcoming week. That was it also for all the new crew workflows that we implemented. So Lode will tell you a bit about what we're going to do upcoming season.
Cool, thanks Sarah. Nice, yeah, so now we spoke about a lot of things that we did past quarter, and let's have a short look at things that we are gonna do in the next quarter. Let me also grab my phone real quick because I need that for the scan return. Yeah, scan return in the mobile app. This is gonna be a super powerful feature that I think is gonna really revolutionize how people are gonna use in the warehouse actually. Basically, I think people in the warehouse currently run into 3 issues, definitely during this high season. First of all, it's now high season, and there are a bunch of projects coming back into your warehouse. It's buzzing with activity. There are 5 or 10 projects coming back, and everything is on one big pile. It can be really tough to then separate everything by project and book all your items return in your warehouse so it's ready to be prepped for your next project. A second issue is really focused on people who have multi-warehousing, right? So they are very much aware of how much what this headache is of items that are accidentally end up at warehouse B that actually came from warehouse A. So let's say this XLR cable came from warehouse A and it now is in warehouse B. Previously you had to set it aside, go to your computer, change the stock location of this cable, and then continue in your regular booking flow again. And this takes a lot of valuable time, definitely when it's high season and there is a lot of pressure in the warehouse. Lastly is when refilling your combinations, right? So let's say a combination comes in and you see that one cable is missing. It's right here on the shelf next to you, and you just want to grab it from the shelf and put it in your combination. Well, this is currently still not possible because this cable wasn't planned originally on the project. So then again, you had to leave your booking flow, go to the combinations module, open the combination again, scan the item inside, and then continue back with your regular booking flow. So these are 3 issues that you're probably running day to day with your warehouse. And that's why I'm so excited to talk to you guys today about this scan return and mobile app, because it's in the base, it's super similar to the scan return in the browser actually, but we streamlined some processes to make it way more efficient for your mobile phone as well, and to really optimize this returning process for your smartphone or Zebra scanner. So let me demo it how it works. I will share my screen on my mobile phone. So let's say you're in the warehouse module, and we have here the beautiful scan return. I'll press it, and that's where we start the scan return process. We will now start the scan return process in the Utrecht warehouse here, based in where Rentman is. And I now scan an item. It is a Pioneer. I scanned the serial number, all good. It's directly booked back from a project, being the conference 6612, and you also see the shelf location at which you have to return your item. If I scan another item, you see that here, this is super important for the people who have multiple warehouses, that within one scan, it's both returned from our Lowlands Festival, as well as being transferred from the Amsterdam warehouse to the Utrecht warehouse. So this is really a huge time saver for you, where the stock location automatically updates because you both book it back returned, as well as the stock location is being updated. So how does it work with bulk items? Here we scan an XLR cable, it's a bulk item, and we can define where this item is coming from. So is it coming from a Utrecht warehouse? Is it coming from a project from any other warehouse? Or is it directly transferred from our other warehouses? In this case, I can just select a project and book and remember. So now every time I scan another bulk item back, it will remember that it's probably coming from the AFAS conference. And this entire combination return flow that I was talking about, this is really a game changer. That is, I think, is going to save you a lot of time. We call it the check and refill process for combinations. Basically, your combination comes back into the warehouse, and you can start check and refill. What this does for you is basically it empties the content on location, and it returns your combination, so it returns it back to your warehouse, and then it allows you to see exactly the content that you want to scan into your combination. In this case, I scan the FX6 full frame camera. I scan some other items in there, and here I can also decide if I have other items from my shelf. So for example, a bulk item that is for my shelf, it will again give this pop-up, and I can determine that it's coming from my actual warehouse stock, and it will adjust the stock perfectly right within the same flow. So if I seal my combination, I've both sealed the combination, booked items returned from location to returned, and I can also add other items to the combination. So I think with these improvements, we give away faster and a more intuitive returning process, not only for the people who use this multi-warehouse solution, but also for these users that are just using with refilling these combinations upon returning. I've already discussed this prototype as well with some other users, and I'm definitely planning on inviting them as well for some beta testing, so we can really see how this is, how the functionality is in day-to-day life, and then we can slowly start rolling this out. So this is super exciting, and I really think this is going to be a game changer. Besides that, I still have the combinations and RFID topic. This is really to get to support the more advanced flows. In the last app update, it's now possible to, when you edit your combination in the warehouse booking flow, to book items with RFID inside this combination. But this topic is really about these more advanced flows of when you assign an RFID tag to your combination, for example, whether it has to book the entire combination to the next status, or maybe you just want to check the contents of this combination. Cool. That's regarding the warehouse flows. Roy, can you tell me something about the multi-time zone support?
Yeah, cool. One of the other features that we are about to launch, but need some more feedback, is our support for multiple time zones. This is mostly for companies who work globally and have projects in multiple time zones. What are the main components that we added? If you go to the configuration in your account, then you'll have your time and location. You can enable the multiple time zone functionality. You do so by saying yes. And what will show up in your interface is that it asks you in which time zone you are currently. I'm currently based in Amsterdam, so I'll select that time zone. And from now on, all the times that I'll see are in this time zone. That's not where the change is coming from, because there's another component. On every project, you can also specify the time zone. So the time zone of my project here is in Europe, Amsterdam. When I switch to a project that is not in my current time zone, the software will ask me to change my time zone, and I will be able to quickly switch to that time zone and make the adjustment if I were there, right? So this is the example. I'm currently, my interface on the Africa Asmara time zone. I'm doing a project in Europe, Amsterdam, and the interface will warn me that the dates I have here are in a different time zone. I can either adjust or decide to look at the time from my perspective, and we really believe that this will help us in 90% of the occasions where you work in different time zones and need to work with the perspective of multiple times from a different time zone. So the big request here, we're about to launch, majority is here, and we're looking for 3 or 4 companies to give some feedback, help us get the last things out, and get your perspective on if there's a right thing to add. So if you are one of those companies, feel free to reach out, and we will develop it forward with you. That's for the multiple time zones, and I guess that's a part of the webinar. We launched quite some cool things: leave management, purchase orders, crew documents, additional cost, all these new improvements that are in the views in UX, and we have some exciting things to come. This is all included in the existing licenses. There is no additional cost, so very proud of this release, and I hope to see you bring it all to practice. We have, I think, 50 minutes left, so time for some Q&A. We see some questions coming in. Maybe Sarah. Lode.
Cool.
Yeah, we have a question from Dan. If I don't like the new leave management feature, can I switch back to the previous workflow?
Yes, that is possible. As long as you don't have any leave requests still in pending, but everything is either accepted or declined, you can, back in your configuration, indicate that you don't want an approval flow, and then it just goes back to the way it always was.
Cool. Question from Hugo, and maybe you can already demonstrate it, Lode, but what would be a useful view with the new purchase order feature?
Nice. Yeah, that's a good question. I think nicely shows the 2 different features that we've been working on. Let me show you in the financial purchase orders. What I think personally, what is super powerful is, first of all, to start grouping on status. So here we can group on status, and then you see that the approved, completed, concept, pending, and sent are all correctly grouped, and you can prioritize your work even better. With the views, I can create a new view, and I can, for example, say let's do POs this month. And then I can make it visible for everyone. This is a super important one, the date filter. If we set this to this month, it will always show the purchase orders this month. So you always know what's coming up. The purchase order status, you can filter here directly, but I like to show everything in advance already. And then here with the add columns, I can add maybe things about your supplier. So maybe I want to see more from my contact person, from my supplier, I said. And for example, I want to add the email to my grid already. For me, it's more important, less important than the approved costs and the linked costs. So then I save, and here I have the POs this month, grouped by status. So if I go to default view, this is how it looked. And now I go to POs this month, and now you see it grouped, and nicely with the supplier email as well, in case you need to contact him or her about the purchase order.
Cool, clear. Question from Diego. In the group planner, is there a way to see the label about leave?
If you hover over the unavailability, it will give you some information about that it's from leave.
Yeah, that might be a simple. Maybe you can show it as well.
Yeah. So if you're in the group planner, this is a leave request, and you hover over it, it will say the type of leave. So in this case, it's verlof, and the description, someone's going to Mallorca, and it is approved. If it's pending, it shows yellow, and from there, in the visual group planner, if you have the correct permissions, you can also with a right click accept or decline the leave request.
Cool. Well, a question from Stefan. I think this is the first time, the fourth time we do these webinars, and there's one question that used to come back. That was always, when is the dark mode in the app? And the second question that we got every edition is, how do I get my hands on Rentman shirts or hoodies from me and my warehouse crew? So we sometimes give them away. We try to put them in our web shop, but the quality isn't that great. So we're a bit resistant to make that happen. But Stefan, I think if you reach out to Chloe with a C, so CHLOA at Rentman.nl, then we can get you something. Question from Tia. Is there still an advantage for using the regular warehouse return flow over the scan return in the app? So when should you use the regular return flow, and when should you use the scan return in the app?
Yeah, good question. I think mostly I expect that most users will start using the scan return in the mobile app, actually, because it covers multiple use cases. Sometimes you just have one or two projects coming back, having a way more organized return flow in general, and then if you look into this project view, you also know straight away whether there are still items on location or maybe in another status that you defined. We are also planning at the scan return to easily navigate to different projects that appeared in the scan return. So you will also from the scan return can easily navigate to the project warehouse booking screen. But in case you just have one or two projects coming back, then you can still use this regular workflow and then directly see whether you still have items missing or not. But in general, I would just advise to start using the scan return.
Cool. Another question that returns your part is, how can I make combinations now with RFID? Is there a way to make them now, or do we have to wait for the update?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what's currently the way to go is to start using virtual combinations if you want to use combinations. Because those don't work with actual content. So that's better to then make virtual combinations. But ideally, I think what will be super cool is to start this physical combinations, of course. And we are currently in the solutioning process for that. So if you're not very sure yet, then maybe it's good to wait for a bit. And then when we have a final solution, then that is your way to go. For the physical combinations, and that will give you also a bit more tracking because you have this actual content, and that will be useful during your projects.
Cool. Question from Gustav on the view part, and he asks, it's a very nice addition, so thanks Gustav, but is the custom view personal or is it visible to everyone once saved? So I think it's something I could have explained better, but when you create a view, you can actually select if it's custom, right? So you can select if it's just for yourself or visible for everyone. So you have the ability to make them all for your team or very personal ones. Question from Ilke. Will there be a possibility to let the date follow the pre-selected date? So from the 1st of June to the 10th of June will be followed by the 2nd of June to 11th of June when 1/6 has passed. Well, Ilke, if I understand you correctly, you want to make sure that your dates move as long as together with the current date. For this, we have the next week selector, right? So you can select next week, this month, this week, this year, and it will always display this time period. I don't think it can work for 10 days, but I'm looking here.
No, right? No, not yet. These absolute time periods, that's something that's not included in this version. But if we hear feedback that people really are always interested in, for example, these 10 days rather than the last week, then it's something that you should send over to our support team so that we are aware and we can definitely start tracking.
Yeah. Can you make purchase orders for labor? It's good to hear. This also was the feature that was requested already in the small Q&A that we just did. Labor purchase orders are planned this quarter, the upcoming quarter. It's currently worked on, and we hope to release them quite soon.
Yep.
Will the purchase order workflow be available to all subscription levels? Do you know where it's included?
Yeah, the purchase orders is included in your quoting and invoicing license. So that's everything that has to do with financial settings. So if it's possible to create quotes and invoices, you will also have this this purchase order workflow in your subscription. I can quickly show you where it's in the user settings. So in case you cannot see it, maybe it's because someone in your account hide it for you. In this case, you go to user roles, edit, and we scroll down to purchase orders. And here is where you can see all the settings that are related to your purchase orders. So you can decide on user role level whether people can see purchase orders or not. And you can decide whether you can see all purchase orders or only your own purchase orders, and whether you can approve, cancel, or complete purchase orders. So it might be if you don't see it, but you have the quoting and invoicing license, that the admin of your account disabled this functionality for you.
Cool. I think it also answers the question of Jessica. She says, I don't want my colleagues to see all purchase orders. Yeah. Can I hide irrelevant purchase orders from them? And I think that's the same answer.
Yeah, same answer basically. So you can go to your configuration, user roles, and then select that you can only see your own purchase orders, and then what's your own purchase order? That's the owner field that is within the purchase order when you edit it.
Cool. Question from Samuel. Where do we edit the presets of additional costs? Sarah, is it a question that you can answer?
I have to say that Lode is probably more into the additional costs.
Edit the presets of additional costs. So I guess we are referring to the default additional costs. Let me hop over to my other workspace. I don't think I showed you that. It's basically the same as with your default crew functions. So in additional costs, you go to default, you add a default cost. We say hotel stay, to stick with my forever lasting example. We normally purchase it for 100 euros and we sell it for 120 euros. Use a premium hotel. And then it's added to your additional costs database. And then from there you can always add it from any project to the additional cost section in your project.
Cool. Then, Sarah, maybe the next one is for you. So, question from Eric. When setting up leave management, can we also add a yearly leave balance to a crew member?
Yeah, so we currently have that you can set a leave balance for your crew member. You can put it in on their profile, or you can import it for your entire crew.
You want to demo it?
I can quickly show where to set it in the profile. The only thing that it's not with a deadline, not with a due date when these hours expire. So if you're in someone's profile on the administrative tab, we have the section leave balances. Here you can add balance for someone. So you first indicate for which leave type. So for example, someone just got a baby, and then you can say, in our company, that's always so and so much hours. So something like this. You indicate when this will happen. So for example, if you are preparing for the new year, you can already indicate from 1st of January, everything needs to be in there, and then you save it. And then here it shows in their personal profile, but they will also see it when they're in the leave request module. They can open their own leave balance history. They see the mutation, what was added, but also when they have requested leave off, they see the balance that has been taken off that.
Yeah, I see more questions around how we set this up. I see a question from Ilke. Is it possible to filter out the leave type for the ones available for the employees? For example, parental leave only available for the employees who are parents, but it might be the same procedure, right?
So currently it's indeed, you then don't give them a balance, so they cannot request it.
And will it be possible to reject a leave and give the employee the possibility to revise their leave and resubmit? For example, someone requested every Friday off for 8 weeks. One of those Fridays is not approved.
Yeah, so at the moment, it's not possible to edit your leave request. However, it's something that we're looking into. We do want to make this possible. So coming soon.
Cool. Question for Freddy. Can crew members add the crew documents themselves?
We now made the crew documents feature something that you can only see with a certain permission. So as long as you have the permission to see the crew members module and to see the crew documents, you can add it. It's not really possible for crew members to add it to their own overall global profile page. So right now it's really something for admin or HR to add these documents.
And can the documents function be used for a student worker who has a day contract and has to sign them? Question from Wim.
Yeah, I think you can.
Yeah, right. All kind of contracts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So multi-line question. Question from Chris. Specific approval flows. For example, per department, warehouse people, production people. Warehouse people leave must be approved by someone different from production people. How do we handle that?
Yeah, yeah, good question. I think this also ties in with some other questions I saw before as well.
But Lode, before we go this, I think it's a leave management
yeah,
question.
the leave
It's not
okay.
purchase orders.
Sure.
Yeah, okay. At the moment, we don't have specific hierarchy within Rentman saying this is a team lead of this specific team. So currently, everybody who has the permission to approve or decline leave can approve that for the entire company, basically. We do normally see that companies have something documented for themselves to say this person can approve it for his team. And you can find it back in the leave request module, like who did this approval. So in the end, you do get an overview about what happened, but we don't limit it.
Cool. Then Lode, this one for you. We use the import function to import an equipment list generated by our third-party software into each project. Does a purchase order system allow ordering against shortages on a project, and does it allow ordering items that show up as temp? So items that are not currently part of the inventory, but I want to make part of the inventory after this job.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, you have this this third-party software, right? And you have this entire list, and then you upload it via an import in your project.
Yeah. So this is the import that used, and now we go here, and basically what I want to see here is that we want to order items.
Yeah, so basically if the allow ordering against shortages on a project, yeah, so these shortages, they have to be solved with a subrent right now, and from this subrent you can create the purchase order. So this subrent, that solves your shortages, and then from there, from the subrent you create the purchase order, which is all about this communication and stuff. With these temporary equipment items, they currently do not have a stock in Rentman or whatever, so that's also never tracked as a shortage or as such. But I do really see that you want to track items that you use on your project and are temporary items, and that you maybe in the end want to purchase or want to buy. And this is one of these flows that we discussed in one of the Slidos that we had. That buying equipment is one of these flows that we are currently looking into, and how to support that in your project workflow as well. But yeah, next to that, there are also the software integration of the accounting integrations and the crew purchase orders and project unrelated costs, basically. So there is many ways that we can go, and it's definitely a very valid use case. But we have to see how to prioritize this.
Yeah, it's a bit misleading that Sam mentioned ordering, because since the order in the equipment module is modified by yourself, you're not allowed to order based on column, because then you don't get your original ordering that you probably spend some time on back. But this new flow does help you to just get out all the shortages by just adding a new filter, right? So with the view, we can edit a filter, just filter on shortage, and then with just one click, your list will be filtered on just your shortages, and then you can do whatever you want, export that, or take your actions, and then go back to your default view. So I think this specific workflow that Sam is describing is made a bit easier with the filters and the new views that we added. 2 more questions, Chloe, is that right? 2 more questions. Question from Anonymous. The documents module, maybe I misunderstood in explanation, but will it be possible for crew members to e-sign the documents? For example, if you needed a crew member to sign a contract that will be uploaded in the documents module, is that possible?
Yeah, so if you create a Rentman native contract in your documents module, I will go there. So in this case, we were looking at Yarna. Okay, we're in the staging account, I'm sorry. Yes. So looking at Yarna, we sent them the framework agreement that has an e-signing button, which makes that we have the signature status that will reflect if something happened in there. So yes, you can have your crew members e-sign the documents, but I demoed 2 documents. The first one was the framework agreement, the second one was the assignment confirmation. Considering the assignment confirmation currently doesn't show in the crew documents, that's the one that cannot be e-signed. Maybe that made it a bit confusing.
Okay. And last question from Emmy. Can we do a leave management in the app, or is it just the website?
We can do it in the app.
Wow.
It's in your time registration module and app. We add an extra tab, it's called leave. And you can request leave there as well.
Cool. Now, good to hear that we can end it on a positive note. Thank you for the question. Thanks for your time. We will be back in a quarter, hopefully with some new updates or maybe some new workflows. And hope to see you then. Goodbye.
Yes. All right.
Bye.